Anytype.io. They're going to be telling us how they use IPFS in their wonderful new app. But first up, there is a small round of announcements. I think it comprises mostly of Alan Shaw's wonderful new blog post on, let's have a look. Let's share a screen on blog.ipfs.io. Let's share the screen. If you haven't seen it, you're going to see it now. Alan, it turns out, is wasted as the lead maintainer of JS IPFS because his true calling is in a futuristic science fiction author. He's projected himself forward and is looking back at IPFS Camp 2019 from the far future and discussing the launch of, oh my God, it's the deep dive videos. They're available. If you weren't there, now you can feel like you were there because in many frames per second, the illusion of animation will occur. You'll be able to hear the audio. You'll see a view back into the past of what happened. And it's awesome and you should read it. So if you know how to get to blog.ipfs.io, check that out. What else is going on? Alan Shaw says, JS IPFS 0.37 was released. It's a module. It's on NPM. You can get it. Alan, do you want to say anything about that? What was the highlight?
Yeah, I can talk to that. There is also a blog post as well on the IPFS blog, and that will take you through what is there. But in brief, it is a few new features, a brand new constructor allowing you to create an IPFS node in one line using a promise-based API. So you can just await on a brand new, fresh and ready IPFS node. It's a small change, but I think it will make a lot of people happy. It will also ease our transition into async await. When that refactor finally bubbles up to IPFS, it will be a lot easier for people to switch over if there are any big breaking API changes because they'll already be using promises. So that should be easier in the future for people. There's support for DNS link IPNS name resolution, which means that you can do a kind of name resolve on /IPNS/ a DNS a domain name, and it will go away and look up the DNS the DNS link address for that. So that's cool. It's got delegated peer and content routing. That is not turned on by default, but you can turn it on, and then you can ask another node in the network to find your peers or content for you, which is really useful in JS IPFS because we don't have a DHT. Also pretty useful if you're running IPFS in a kind of resource-constrained environment where you don't have the computing power or memory ability to hold a whole bunch of peers in your peer book and things like that. So that's good. And then late arrival, there's a brand new web UI with some new features to the files and peers page. But go and check out the blog post for all of the in-depth information and news on that, as well as API changes and breaks that you need to take into account.
Thank you very much, Alan Shaw. Good work, JS IPFS. Also, on the release train, Go IPFS 0.4.22, shipping later today. That's what it says on my manifest, and I read anything that's on the teleprompter. And Stephen gives it a thumb up, so it must be happening. Incredible. There will obviously be release notes, blog posts, all that good stuff coming out later, but just know it's coming. All right. On to the stars of the show, Anytype. Do you want to take it away?
Hi, guys, again. And let me tell you briefly what we are building with Anytype. And I think after that, Roman will tell more on a technical side, and we can have a Q&A during or afterwards. I think I will share the presentation. Let me just do it. This is the first time I'm using. How to share here? Here, I see. So you probably see my screen, yes?
Oh yeah, looking good.
Okay, so we are building Anytype. It's a unified user interface, or actually we call it the distributed operating system for the new web. And we are doing it because you all know there are some serious shortcomings of the current web, that the centralized data monopolies have all our data and they decide what we see and what we cannot. In countries like Russia, where I come from, it's pure censorship. And what else is that most of the monetary rewards that have been sized by the same big companies. So like YouTube takes 45% of what people earn, and like Instagram doesn't share anything with the creators. And this is almost everywhere because, of course, of the monopolistic position of current Web 2.0 services that can also read out all our private communication. So nothing actually belongs to people who create the stuff. And at the same time, you guys already have built the foundation for the new web, where all these things can be solved. And but currently we are still using Web 2.0 products because users, like normal people like me, they use products, not protocols. So a product is needed to spread the protocol the same way as email client did for IMAP POP3, Apple Music did for MP3, and Mosaic browser for HTTP, and so on. So this is what we are building. So Anytype is this entry point to harness Web 3.0 capabilities. It's a browser environment where users with using drag and drop and very simple editor can create actually decentralized applications and without coding skills. And we have a very big focus on creation because we think this is like, we want to bootstrap the content and dApps in the decentralized space, because the benefits of the content addressable distributed stack actually happen to be not on a single basis, but as an ecosystem. This is when we will see more of the benefits play out. How we are going to achieve that so that users can create something like dApps with drag and drop, it's because we are using this unified user interface approach, which basically says that we take some things and we, like, everything is a block. And a block, there are some like simple blocks. Simple block is a file or a video or an audio file. So it's like in this piece of like this block you cannot make smaller. It's like this, the smallest block of everything. And there are more complex blocks which consist of smaller blocks. They're like represent a data structure, a database of the smallest blocks. And this is everything is in a visual editor where people with drag and drop can work with this kind of blocks. And what's cool is that in Anytype we have a built-in data wallet, and users can manage all their data with the same approach, which is super cool, because data ownership, of course, doesn't only mean that that you can have access to your data, or you can decide who can access your data. But what's most important, that you actually can work with your data, you can modify, connect it to each other. This is the real data ownership that we want to bring. And this block-based approach is possible because most of the applications have the same design patterns. So that most of the things that we are used to in Web 2.0, like in Dropbox or YouTube or Asana, Trello, like any Medium, anything you can think of, is mostly the databases with content. So we take these views to the database and we unify them and present them as building blocks to our users. And that's actually how people can build very easily things and become software developers without needing to code. Of course, there is always a place for developers, because developers can develop new kinds of blocks, new kinds of integrations, so that the whole ecosystem develops, and we can collaboratively create better and better products. And of course, because it's content addressable, each block has a unique hash, and it can be connected to anything with content addressable hash links. This is actually why this open ecosystem is possible, because previously all the applications were closing the data inside, and they were talking only via API. Now, what Anytype is actually these blocks and access rights to these blocks from different users, and an ability to compile new dApps out of these blocks, because every block is a hash. So of course we use most of the things that you are creating, guys, and currently we have at this stage only an Electron client that is cross-platform, but we plan to develop native clients for each platform, because we think this is how we can show that the real magic of local first software, which would be just beautiful in all its applications. So we think that we are not building something for one specific use case. We're actually trying to build an all-in-one solution which can allow a user to create a dApp. And some people think that people don't want to create dApps because, why do they need to create dApps? But most of the things that we currently have, like documents or Dropbox or your profile or a task manager, everything is a dApp. And actually, it's with this approach, it would be very easy to create anything like that. And because it's an open ecosystem, people will be able, because it's now on a proper foundation, people will actually be able to own the stuff that they create and monetize it in the future. So this is actually how we want to, so we want to focus on the domain experts or on people who are like community leaders or bloggers who will be able to very easily create a wide range of services and own them. And the majority of users, of course, will mostly customize the tools or use the tools created by other people, but they will be able to connect these tools to each other. And we think that like most of the Web 2.0 applications will be able to be recreated this way. And but the vision our team, I think, shares with all of you is that we want to build this new web where each user has a right for private thoughts and communication and owns his or her data, and where we have freedom of speech and there is no central gatekeeper who can control and censor information, and where there are clear and democratic rules which reward participants who create, promote, store, and deliver content and services. So, so this is, I think, our joint vision. I hope so. And the roadmap. So we currently have an alpha product, and it's all about closed, so all about private pages, so pages with encryption. And we are still in the process of making it smooth. But the real, like we call it version 1 of the product that we are building is the next one to come, is where users will be able to create public pages, and will be able, because we will introduce databases, we'll be able to create actually dApps and services similar to popular Web 2.0 products, or some new ideas that can emerge. And after that, we plan to have an economy that would combine all of this in one economy. Of course, we also expect Filecoin to happen one day and be used for for people contributing the resources in terms of the bandwidth and storage into the system, and we plan to connect it to the Filecoin economy one day. And yes, I think this is like our team. Roman is on the call, so we would take you questions if you have some. And if you want, I can also show something as a product if you didn't see.
It would be great to see a demo of it.
Okay, so do you see my screen?
Yeah.
So this is the main screen of Anytype. So it's like it's your home screen, and when you register, by registering I mean when you are a new user and you start, a pair of public and private key is generated, and your data wallet is created. Actually, this is your data wallet. You will also be asked to name yourself, but this will be like for purposes that other users can distinguish you, because we have no central registry of users, and we cannot control or censor that. But probably your friends or colleagues need to know what's your name. And then this is the main screen where all the dApps are located. And currently, it's easy to create something new. It's very easy and approachable, and you can even choose an emoji, because it's easier to identify with picture. It's much faster than reading words. And then it's a very easy to use and intuitive editor. With the plus, you can add different types of blocks, and there are different, like for text block, there are different views for the block. For example, I can create a heading, and I can of course add some images and videos or bookmarks from here. And with this button, I can also change the block type into the block view into something else. So there are different block types, and with drag and drop, I can move things around. Sorry, I didn't move because there was video there. So things like that, and this is how I can create structure. So let me show what can be actually done with this functionality. So I can create something like my personal front page where I can structure all the things that are important to me. And because there are different types of blocks, it's very easy to create pages that would look that would suit this concrete use case. So pages look a little bit different, but nice things are possible, like you can drop blocks into pages and it just works. So if everything is very easy to understand and very easy to create. And this is the last thing that we have added. It's a history, so you can see all the versions of the file of the page that you have, and you can also share with by clicking by getting a link and sharing with whom you want. And this works, of course, in a peer-to-peer way, so that everything is stored on your device, and people will connect directly there. And you can add like links and files next to each other, and it just looks good. But this is currently is mostly looks like this is very basic. So there is not many things can be done yet, but with the addition of databases, this will be a very powerful thing. So this is it, I think, for from me?
It looks very cool. I'm conscious of time. There are a few questions
Yeah,
in
sorry,
the sidebar, but
I didn't.
it's okay.
Sorry.
No problem. You might want to stop sharing your
Yes.
screen. There we go. Just quickly, Roman, did you have anything technical that you wanted to tell us, or should we open it up to questions?
I can briefly introduce
Yeah.
that we are using Textile. They
Great.
done a great job because initially we started to do everything by ourselves and using the OrbitDB, but then Textile was released and we started to work with their library. Now we are working close with each other, trying to speed up the improvement, speed up the things that we need in our product, and also planning to promote some things in the IPFS also, like we very interesting in the, because we only use the Go implementation, we very interesting in the quick implementation, and about everything about performance and all this stuff. So trying to be also helpful for the IPFS community in this field. And regarding to Textile, one important thing we're planning to implement currently, we're storing the documents each version of document is just one file in the IPFS, but we are currently moving to the IPLD when they are storing blocks like IPLD graphs. And these are going to be like very interesting challenges. After the IPFS camp we was very impressed with this technology.
Super cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you can capture all of that graph information in IPLD, it's a good fit.
Yeah. And it will improve also the storage efficiency and make things.
The current version of the app, how are you deploying it? Is it an Electron app that bundles Go IPFS?
Electron app with Go IPFS with Textile inside.
Nice.
Also our own library in Golang. We're trying to build like our plan is to make native applications for different platforms, and we're trying to make some kind of cross to move most of the code to the Golang, so we will be able to use Textile and our own code on every platform. So hope that mobile versions, some kind of alpha, we'll see it soon.
Great. So some questions that are in the chat. The first one from Jessica is, will the presentation be available online so that we can refer back to it? Is that something that you can share with us afterwards?
Yes, I think so.
Great. Alan Shaw wants to know, will I be able to publish web apps as well as desktop apps? So I think he's interested in what the publishing of apps would look like.
Currently, it's only like private pages which you can share with somebody using like you share the encryption key and the other person will join your thread in the Textile terminology. But we are planning to implement the public pages also that will be able to publish in some kind of gateway maybe, but most functionality will be available only when you install the application on the platform, because you need a fully functional IPFS server locally.
That makes sense. He also asks, is there an early access program or something? Can I play with the app now?
Yeah, we have on the website, you can register. We're planning to open the make an open beta, I think in the next weeks.
No, I'm not sure about open beta in the next weeks, but we can share with you definitely.
Nice.
The version we've shared already with some people. There are bugs.
Is it the case that if people see this video and they get in touch with you directly, maybe on Twitter, they might find themselves access? Okay.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Eric doesn't have a question, but he is drooling, and Eric is responsible for the design going forwards of IPFS, so he is excited about the direction you are taking Anytype. I assume that, and not just a saliva problem. He's looking forward to that sandwich. Alan Shaw also asks, what would you need to be added or fixed in IPFS to make Anytype work better? Are there any particular things that IPFS is being useful for or not being useful for?
I think most things about connectivity and performance. So we are looking forward and talking a lot at the IPFS camp about the connectivity under the NAT, and also like a quick is a great possibility to solve some of these problems, and also about performance things, like people don't like when their CPU usage is like under almost 100%.
I think the audio has got quite choppy, but the general sentiment is yes, we probably want to allow people to run more applications than just Anytype or just IPFS. It's true. As we were mentioning on the office hours call before this one, that is an ongoing area of in diligence. Sometimes it competes with, you want quick discovery times, but in general, it's a thing that we're always keeping an eye on. Stephen asks, how did you implement the chat program? Does Anytype feature chat?
We plan to introduce, like, we look at the chat as one of the views to the database, and we plan to add them with the, like, so currently we're working on the current version, which is like what I showed, just without bugs. But in the next, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, we plan to introduce databases, and the chat will be one of the views to the database that we will introduce.
And technically, we are going to use like just IPFS, kind of IPFS log for the chat.
Super cool. All right, it's 1 minute till the end of the call. Any last questions? That's all good. Can we get a big thank you to Anytype for showing us what they did? Yeah! Thank you very much. It looks amazing. I'm going to keep all my notes there. As part of a large distributed organization, I have many to-do lists. This looks like a much nicer place to keep them. Thanks all very much. If there's no other business, then I'm calling.
I wanted to thank all of you guys, because, like, really, everything that we have built only because of you. So
that means
and like, so big love from us. We really like to be a part of this bigger team, and I'm just happy that we share one vision, and I'm looking forward to work more closely with each other.
That is the best any other business we've ever had on this call. Thanks very much. And with that, this has been the IPFS weekly call. Tune in, same Zoom link, same time next week. If you've got questions about IPFS and don't know where to get started, tune in an hour before for the IPFS office hours call hosted by yours truly. This has been us. You've been you. We're out. Goodbye.
Bye.
And then there were 6. Goodbye, friends.